this video started. Hi, and welcome to another video. Today's video is kind of, I got a lot of good feedback off of my thoughts video on the Xbox One. So Apple just had their Worldwide Developer Conference yesterday. I looked at the video yesterday from start to finish, plus I've been reviewing some of the videos on YouTube that I already posted on all of the events. So I figured I'd do my own take on it. I'm going to go through everything they talked about at Worldwide Developer Conference. I kind of want to cater it to iOS7 because that'd be the only thing that would be of interest to me. But I do want to go into some of the key high-level things that they talked about. iOS7 is really the big announcement that came out of yesterday's conference. Talked about metrics and stuff, and 50 billion app downloads, and that App Store is 5 years old, and it's better than Android, and blah blah blah. I really think that's a personal preference. They demoed something called Anki Drive, which is some sort of a robotic thing, but I don't know. I didn't really find it too fascinating. I mean, it was kind of, I don't know. They said they were going to release something later for it. But I thought it was kind of cool. These little race cars were racing around, and they were being controlled all in programming language. Like nobody was actually like remote controlling them or anything. Everything was just kind of self-driven to avoid hitting the other cars and to speed up or slow down. And it was kind of cool. I think version of OS X was announced for Mac computers. They made a joke about it being Sea Lion because they're running out of cat names. Decided that it's going to be called Mavericks. Obviously not Sea Lion. About a bunch of little things that are, there's going to be a lot of OS enhancements and whatever in the new version. Why? Of course there are going to be enhancements. That's the whole point of a new OS, release, is to have updated software and better things and cooler things. The big thing in the OS upgrade is going to be the battery life. And of course then they alluded to hardware, and they said, we have new MacBook Airs. They have an 11-inch and a 13-inch, and they start at $999 and they range all the way to $1,300, which is actually not so bad. For somebody that's getting into Mac for the first time, I would suggest having a MacBook Air. Then they also announced the Mac Pro that's going to be coming out, but they kind of did like a sneak peek of it. They showed what it would look like and what it would entail in the near future, but they didn't really talk about specifics or anything other than, they talked about some of the CPU and the memory and how many ports and things like that, but not anything like when is it going to be available. About the MacBook Air is the 13-inch model is going to have a 12-hour, yes I said that, 12-hour battery life. Being a techie, I really don't believe it until I see it. But it is possible. I couldn't see why it couldn't. I mean, the current MacBook Airs I think last about 6 hours without a charge. So I would think if they built the OS a little better to conserve more battery, I would see why it couldn't last 12 hours. But talked about iWork, which is Mac's suite of Mac's version of like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, but they call them different things. It's the same thing, but just it was written and designed for Apple. Key thing that they announced here is they're going to have a version for iCloud, meaning that you can use it on any web browser. So it could be Mac or it could be Windows. And obviously, as you're working with the documents, it gets stored up in the cloud. So there's no physical software. You just log into a website and you do your thing. Similar to the new Windows Microsoft Office suite that came out, that's all essentially driven off of the cloud. Software suite, I'd rather use Microsoft. I've been using it forever, and I probably would never switch from using it. But that's just how it is. Okay. The big thing that it was announced was iOS 7. And iOS 7 is really cool. At least it appears to be. Now, of course, they didn't announce any new iPhones or anything like that, but given that this OS is going to be released in the fall, timing-wise, there will probably be a new Apple device to go along with it. So they'll announce the device, and then the OS will come out, or the OS will come out, then the device will come out, something to that effect. But regardless, it's coming in the fall. There's a developer beta available now for people that want to beta test it. There's a lot of things, like look at all the notes I took, 2 pages worth. So I'm going to go through some of the key things, and again, I can't go through every single little thing because I was really intrigued by the presentation, so I didn't jot down all the different things. But there's a lot of different things. It's a translucent display, so the display is now translucent, so when you see a menu, you'll actually be able to see like a mirror image of whatever behind it is. So that's kind of cool, I think. All the icons were redesigned, and all the software was rewritten from the ground up to support the new benchmark, or the new OS, if you will. You know, like how you have the little folders in iOS where you can have like games and Facebook and Twitter and all those things, like little folders within folders. Now they have it where it's unlimited, so it does not limit it by how many you have. So that's actually kind of cool. So I can actually have a folder called games, and I can have 50 games in there, and that's it. I only need 1 game folder. Right now I have like 3 or 4 different game folders because you can only have a certain amount in each folder. Lock screen is all different now. You don't swipe to the right anymore, you swipe up. So like if you're locked, it's going to say swipe to unlock, you have to swipe up. And it's the same, you type in the password, but it's not swiping right, so it's a little different. And it's also translucent. Also, when you swipe up when the phone is actually on, you actually get a shortcut key of all of the different little things that you want to get instant access to. So like if you want to go to airplane mode really quick, before you have to go swipe, right, find settings, click, push, then drill down and find wherever the hell it is. Now it's all in that little shortcut menu. They have that. They have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. You can play music from it, like it's a shortcut for the music player. And also they added a flash light app in there, so you can push it and it actually turns on the light, the camera light. So that's kind of cool, I think. Applications. So like let's say you're reading a mail and you went into your mail and you get the full screen mail. You can actually swipe to the right and it'll go back to your list of mail. Whereas before you always had to hit the button on the top or hit the home button and then go back into your mail. So that's kind of cool. And you can do that in a lot of different apps. You can do that in Mail, in the Safari, and some others. Multitasking in the apps. So they talked about this a little bit. And I have a general idea how it works, which actually might be cool. But at the same time, it might not work so well, depending on how well the software is written, so we'll have to see. But essentially you'll be able to have background applications running in the background and you know, they could all be doing stuff. Whereas right now only certain apps have that privilege to do that. Like obviously the music player, you can play that in the background and it won't kill when you close it. Things like that. So they've enhanced that to be supported by all apps. See, they updated Safari. They changed the tab system though. So now when you have tabs, you know how when you have tabs in your browser, you have different browsing tabs. You have browsing tabs in Safari on the iOS, but they show up like in like a 3D kind of a tile, I guess I'll call it, which is kind of cool. I liked it. AirDrop, they announced AirDrop for iOS. AirDrop exists currently on Mac OS, but not on iOS, so that's actually going to be cool. You can so if, let's say you and your friend have an iOS device, you can AirDrop a file to them. You don't have to text it to them. You don't have to email it to them. It's just like kind of similar to the Bump software that's available on Android, and you know, there is also an iOS version. So that's kind of cool. They have enhanced the photo app, where now you'll be able to control. Well, not you, but the system will actually be able to organize all of your photos based off of an event, based off of location. They call that moments. Like at the Statue of Liberty, and you take 55 pictures there, then it's gonna know that you took pictures there, and it's gonna organize them all into that. So that's kind of cool, and that'll all be in the cloud as well. They updated Siri. Siri has 2 new voices. The female voice was updated, and they also included a male voice. And they're also going to have French and German languages at launch. You can do a couple more things with Siri, like you actually tell Siri to turn Bluetooth on, turn Bluetooth off, airplane mode, you know, things like that, where before you couldn't do that. So they've enhanced what you can ask it to do. iOS in the car. That's a geeky thing, I thought. That came out. and was announced. In 2014, it's going to be available to a bunch of different car models like Honda and Nissan and some of the other, major brands. And you'll be able to control your iPod right from the dash on your car. And the car's going to have like a home button and similar to your iOS device. And it's going to be able to do everything you do on the iPhone, and you'll be able to see it on the screen of the dash of the car dash. So that's kind of nice. Be interested to see how that would work out. It's iTunes Radio as part of iTunes being enhanced for iOS 7. That is one thing that they did announce. I think that's kind of cool. It's about time. I've done videos before about Spotify and some of the other online services, and I don't really like them because they're not really interchangeable with Apple. So I'm very happy that's coming out, because I do like to listen to new things or old things that I just would have to rediscover. And I think that will be kind of nice because it's all tied into the App Store and the App Store. It's all tied into iTunes and the Music Store. So I think that's going to be cool. Activation lock feature. So if you lose your iPhone, let's say, and somebody finds it, generally what can happen now is the person would wipe the phone, and then they can just reactivate it as a brand new phone, and none be the wiser. Now, if you do that, when the phone turns on, it's going to require you to type in your Apple ID and password. Otherwise, the phone will not work. And this is going to be available in the fall with a beta coming out now for the developers. It's going to be good for iPhone 4 and above, which I'm surprised they're still supporting iPhone 4. iPad 2 and above, the iPad Mini, and only the iPod Touch 5G and above. So it's really only the latest version of the iPod Touch and above that will be supported. And that's probably because that's the only one that has Siri on it. So I think that's probably why. All right. So that's kind of a quick summary about everything that they talked about. I think. Well, remember I've been debating whether I wanted to go iOS or Android. Now that they made this announcement with iOS 7, it's actually exciting because the OS looks a little like Android. It's a little different. You'll be able to do a lot more things that you weren't able to do before. I also think it's kind of a stepping stone into a new type of iPhone device. Sadly, I still don't think it's going to come out this year, although I'd be very surprised if it does. Bigger screen, 5-inch screen, something like that. But I don't think it's going to come out this year. We'll probably have just a souped up iPhone 5, and then the next version is going to be the big iPhone launch. But given all these little software enhancements, I think that's going to be really, really nice. And I look forward to having that on my iPhone 5. I still think, though, in whole, just on iOS, that they're still kind of behind the game a little bit. I really think they need to do some things like, for example, widgets. I think widgets would be nice to have on an iDevice. When I had my Android, I had lots of widgets. I had a widget for weather, a widget for this, a widget for that, and I had them all on one screen. So if I wanted to see something, I could just quickly go swipe into my widgets and see everything I needed to see, and I have to open the application. iOS should really do something like that. Like one feature is going to be that you can block people from your phone. So like if somebody's harassing you and you don't want to talk to them, you can block their number. And you can block their text messages, you can block their FaceTime requests, anything. So I think that's kind of cool. So I'm excited that something new is coming out for iOS, and it's a new OS, new everything. So that at least is a turn in the right direction. So I think I'm quite happy with that for now. Again, we'll have to wait till it comes out and we get to play with it to see what it actually is. But I liked it, and I think it's a good. I think it's a step in the right direction for Apple. But I still think they need more. So what do you guys think about the iOS 7? You guys think is it breathtaking? Did it like wow you? Honestly, it didn't wow me. It didn't wow me to the point of, oh my God. But it's a step in the right direction. I do like how, again, the Apple ecosystem kind of meshes everything together. So I do like that they're going in this direction, And I have a prediction that because they're going in this direction, they're going to have a new revelation on a new iDevice at some point. Not this year, I don't think. What do you guys think? If you guys like my little blurb about IOS7 and what they talked about at the Worldwide Developers Conference, leave me a comment, and please share with your friends. Please like and comment, because it really helps me out a lot. Please support me by liking and sharing and commenting, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great one.